Oh my goodness.
The one of one is missing.
I knew something was up.
Pop, that's almost twice as much going for the same price.
I just freaking love that Raider rookie logo.
Doing more buying.
Which one of these 5 quarterbacks has the worst set of pass catchers to throw the football to?
Guess how much I sniped this for an auction?
Number to 5, you dirty animal.
I'm telling you, these optic on-card autos are money.
All righty, let's go. Football cards collecting and investing. His name is Andy. My name is Carter, and you guys are here for mostly NFL football card chatter, but we are actually going to start off today's show chatting college football cards. Now, comment down below, and I want whoever you are watching this, if you're in the live chat or if you're just watching this down the road, do you collect college cards? But in particular, are you buying any Bowman U cards? So, Andy, I go to you. I know you're more pro than college, but have the college cards tickled your interest?
A little bit, man, especially after some of these price spikes I've seen this past weekend. I'm very interested. I can see the market is reactive to what happens in college football. I can also see that there's a limited supply of college football cards, so prices could spike quite severe on some players. And it's very interesting to me because I'm finding more and more college football fans that also are into football cards, and they're doing a lot of college football card collecting and investing, dealing the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and we see some in our Discord, whether it be Chad, Derek, Gaby, Card Stacks, whoever it may be. I know there's a lot of you that love college uniform cards, but we are mostly NFL. So here's what I'll say, Andy. Coming from a college football guy, right? I love the NFL. I still watch the NFL, but most of the YouTube stuff that I do is college stuff. That is up my wheelhouse. But just keep in mind, of course, the college market isn't close to what the NFL market is, but it's still the second most watched sport on a game-by-game basis that we have in America, behind, of course, NFL football. And Andy, the one thing that really sticks out about this year in college football are the quarterbacks, right? And the guy that's obviously the biggest name right now in the sport isn't necessarily Caleb Williams. It's Shedeur Primetime Sanders.
Man, Shedeur Sanders looking like a rocket ship this past weekend. And I've seen some absolutely crazy sales on his Onyx cards, Carter. Onyx cards that, yeah, I mean, it's just wild. So if you look at an Onyx card, it's like a card stock card. And here, these are sold transactions. I mean, this is non-autograph base Onyx, so it's not licensed, doesn't have like a team name and stuff like that on there. And it's $50. $50 in a buy it now. That was yesterday, Sunday, in reaction to what happened on Saturday.
It's crazy. And I have a few of these cards of LSU players over here. And what's interesting about this is not only is it not licensed, Andy, it's also a photo from his Jackson State days. So now he is with the Colorado Buffaloes. And what I love about Onyx, I actually met some of the Onyx reps. I have a ton of Onyx cards over here, including Jaden Daniels, my quarterback's Onyx autograph cards. What's very interesting, Andy, is while they aren't licensed, they do have a lot of relationship with these college athletes. But the card that, interests most people are the Bowman University cards in general. So for me, I love them. I do think it could become a thing. And one guy that we've not mentioned is Michael Penix. And one thing that is very fascinating about all these college quarterbacks is NFL draft season is huge, right? So once the NFL gets going and some of these college quarterbacks, some of the buzz here kind of wears off, it could be a huge buying opportunity for every single one of you, because NFL draft season gets crazy. And if there's more autographed cards of these quarterback prospects, this hobby is all about hype and what they can do at the next level.
Exactly, Carter. And with the market becoming more and more accepting of Bowman University, and I think a lot of it does have to do with the fact this is a tops product, and
Yeah.
obviously, now they've got licensing in place and stuff, so they are working with team logos and names. And I think this becomes even more interesting as we move forward. I think this does become pretty much like the flagship brand sets and most desirable cards for these college players. I would love to see them grow their checklist and include more freshmen and sophomores in
Yeah.
college in these sets, and maybe some of these smaller conferences like the Colorado Buffaloes. I'm sure they're not in a very large college conference, so obviously we don't have Bowman University cards of Shadur yet. We don't even have Bowman University cards of a guy like Joe Milton playing for Tennessee. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to see this market continue to grow, and the sales volume backs that up. These cards are still doing quite well when you have pro uniform sets out. Like my Hendon Hooker is a prime example, Carter. I was still able to get out of that card for $40. Even though the guy's a backup and he's got pro uniform autos out that aren't going for that much more. I think it was the combination of the first logo in the top of the Bowman University, and people, when they hold that card in their hand, you can feel that it's made with some good quality. It's a good Topps Chrome card.
We'll get back to Bowman U if you have more questions on it. Like, I am in it. Like, I got a whole stack of one of my favorite players here, Mason Smith cards right here. A lot of these were just given to me as gifts. Here's a gold autographed refractor. They are beautiful cards, especially if you are a Topps person and especially if you do baseball because you're familiar with Bowman U. But we move to the NFL, Andy. This is right up your wheelhouse, man. We are just a few days away from the beginning of the actual season. So, in terms of sales volume, what has been the biggest thing that you have noticed as we're just days away from kickoff? I think he went mute. I can't hear him. Can y'all hear him?
Oh, snap. How long have I been mute for?
What
I think I've
were
been.
you? I was like trying to figure.
I,
Huh?
I,
Huh?
crack, I
Huh?
cracked
Huh?
my drink open over here and I put myself on mute
Oh, okay.
temporarily.
Huh?
And
Huh?
then and
Huh?
then I
Huh?
forgot to unmute it. So pro tip, if you mute yourself, remember to unmute yourself. So no, the biggest thing that jumps off at me is right. The volume has been fantastic across the board. I mean, looking at the PSA added volume, the buy it now volume. What's interesting is you have Justin Herbert still surpassing everybody in
Wow.
auction sold volume. But if you look at his buy it now volume, he is about 20 graded cards fewer than Joe Burrow. He's lower than Trevor Lawrence. He's lower than Jalen Hurts by quite a few. You can see Jalen Hurts is actually in the buy it now lead week over week in his graded volume. Graded sold volume, but his cheapest available rookie ticket auto is still about $1,000 to $1,500 lower than Burrow and Herbert. So yeah, volume is crazy across the board. PSA has had a record month in terms of football cards submitted and added to their database. Trevor Lawrence at 1,000. This is week over week data. Carter, Kenny Pickett 990. So you can see there's been quite a few of these quarterbacks, young quarterbacks that are being submitted. They're being sold. A lot of volume happening right now on eBay. I did mention that the Travis Kelce news about him hyperextending his knee, possibly not being available for Thursday's night game, is probably the biggest news that blew my socks off today.
Wow. Yeah. Let me start with the quarterback thing. It's still crazy to me that Jalen Hurts is that much cheaper than Herbert, who's not done anything. But in terms of winning, now, how much better or worse is Jalen Hurts than Justin Herbert? I would say they're probably even. Obviously Jalen Hurts is the more complete package, but Justin Herbert obviously has, the cyborg arm and playmaking ability to his name. I am, if I was a Justin Herbert buyer, I would be seriously worried that I just bought somebody unbelievably hyped up that I know is very good, but still might not ever get there. And that's where I kind of think about, I'm going to be real with you, Andy. I think about Herbert buyers a lot. I really do. Because there must be, unless you just really love them and you're a Chargers fan or an Oregon Ducks fan, there has to be some kind of nerves that goes along with it. And look, I'm a Joe Burrow collector. He's not won a Super Bowl yet, but at least he's gotten there. At least he's been to an AFC Championship game, and in that last AFC Championship game, he barely lost that one. So, yeah, I am curious in the chat right now if you are a Justin Herbert buyer or collector.
Yeah, I think the big thing is going to be what's their passing game going to be like, and this is like a make or break year, I think, for Justin Herbert and his investors, his owners, and in all formats. Is Quentin Johnson going to pan out? Is he going to help their passing game, bringing over Kellen Moore from the Dallas Cowboys? Is that going to help the passing game? His ADOT was terrible last year. He dealt with the banged up ribs, so that's a big component that was missing last year that they need to get right this year for him to have a chance. And then also, they had a massive weakness in their defensive secondary last year. They paid like $83 million to CJ Jackson from the New England Patriots, and JC Jackson, sorry. And he was a total dud last year. So can he actually live up to his potential this year? And then can Joey Bosa stay healthy? Him and Khalil Mack on the line when they were healthy were nasty. So I think they have a ton of potential, but the expectations are high. The hype is high. So it makes sense to me why I could potentially sell one rookie ticket auto Justin Herbert for $2,500 and buy 2 Jalen Hurts. I think I would take that trade. Like if someone presented that to me as a trade, I'm taking it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, if you are a Herbert buyer, you're like, oh my God, I hope this Travis Kelce news is like really serious. Because if Kelce's not there, I do think the Chiefs will continue to win, but it does drastically increase the Chargers' possibility of winning their own division when the GOAT quarterback that everyone, is crowned the GOAT, Mahomes, he's in your own division. And that's where I think it gets interesting. And that's what's kind of nervous for me as a Burrow collector. Now, I'm not a high-end Burrow collector, more so as college uni stuff, but still, Lamar Jackson's back in that division too. So I worry about this as a Joe Burrow guy, but still, it's very interesting. Now, we do have a lot of Kenny Pickett chatter going on in the chat, and we have touched on pretty much everything that we wanted to get to as far as the beginning of this episode. So your comments do go a long way. But yeah, I see a Justin Herbert, Dan Marino comparison here. I could see it. Put up big numbers and not actually produce. But we'll see. He's got Kellen Moore coming in, who everyone says is one of the best OCs. I do agree with that. I think he's a great play caller. So we shall see. Now, Andy, I want to go to you here. Outside of the QB sales volume, is there anything else that has really popped out to you as we're a few days from the year?
Well, I mean, you still have this massive disparity in if you look at the elite skill position players, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, you have this disparity between their rare cards, their rare rookie autos, and then the base cards. We see them lag behind significantly, especially for Jamar Chase. You can still find optic hollows and silver prisms for $20. Right. And I just don't think that's going to change. So there is just that's just a disclaimer, public service announcement that especially if you're new getting into the hobby, you may want to go find a rookie card of these guys. And you may find it for $5-10 and think it's a great deal. Or maybe you're paying up to $20 because you're also finding stuff for like first year players, like rookies out of the gate that you're thinking, oh, well, this is a similar card to Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and it's going for $20. But the upsides, it's hard to find the upside in the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, just because of how many other products are out there for them.
Yeah, and just a disclaimer here. I move a lot of my stuff and look to keep other things. I did have a Leaf 1 of 1 Joe Burrow go for a sale this weekend. It was cracked ice. And then I had a Leaf 1 of 1 clear Justin Jefferson go on sale. So these are college uni unlicensed cards. I'm building, a separate business right now, and I needed some funds. So I sold both of them, 99-cent auction. Andy, they ended at the same time last night. And I want you to guess what the prices were for both of them, Joe Burrow versus Justin Jefferson.
Interesting.
Leaf 1 of 1, Justin Jefferson versus Joe Burrow.
That was one card, or are you saying you had two different 1 of 1s?
It was 2 separate cards that ended at the same time last night. And they were 1 of 1 Leaf cards.
Non-auto, I'm guessing.
Non-auto.
Right?
Yeah, non-auto.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess that the Joe Burrow one went for like $60 and the Justin Jefferson one went for $40.
Okay. The Justin Jefferson one went for $141.
Ooh.
And the Joe Burrow one went for $110.
Really? It went for lower than the Justin Jefferson?
Yes. I was shocked. I kind of did it as an experiment for the show. I wasn't going to tell you till the end. But you brought up Justin Jefferson. I will say this as a massive fan of all of these guys. All right. Obviously, every LSU fan is going to be like Burrow number 1, right? He's in the background of every one of these shows that I do. Every show that I do, this Joe Burrow painting is back there. Justin Jefferson's stuff right now, Andy, is so unbelievably hot. And I understand he's a wide receiver. I get it. But I will say, once again, this is anecdotally just a few weeks ago that we were together at the National. I saw an obscene amount of Justin Jefferson stuff being moved. I saw obscene amounts of Justin Jefferson sales. I saw 2 Justin Jefferson sales on some really nice pro uniform license National Treasures auto stuff for thousands. I do feel he's a little bit different than everybody right now, Andy, and that kind of proved it to me last night as well.
I agree, man. His cheapest rookie ticket auto on the market right now is pushing $1,000. I mean, he's in a different stratosphere than other players, and it's a great example of how a position at a singular level can be so good that it doesn't matter if his team makes the playoffs or the Super Bowl. If he's that dominant at his position, and he's setting those records. He's a wide receiver 1 in Dynasty Fantasy, and I don't see them slowing down at all this year. Like if there's one guy that's going to beat us this weekend, talking in terms of my Tampa Bay traveling to Minnesota to play the Vikings, it's going to be Justin Jefferson, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I think something else could be that he is the consensus number 1 fantasy football pick in every format that's not Superflex. So I think that adds to the allure here. But he's just reached another stratosphere for me because, I don't know. I like him and Jamar about the same, but I'm like, God, just this Jefferson stuff is just so freaking hot right now. It's blowing my freaking mind. And as Brad pointed out, the Vikings signed TJ Hawkinson to that big deal, and Jordan Addison is there. And I'm drafting actually a lot of Jordan Addison in thinking that they're going to, double team freaking Justin Jefferson like crazy. So there you go.
Some of my biggest flips this preseason have been Jordan Addison. I was able to snipe a couple Jordan Addison rookie premier hollows back at the end of July, Carter, for under $20. This is when they were kind of initially rolling out, and I was talking about them. I was able to grab a couple, sold those for one for 60 and the other one for 75. So, and I bought those for like $15, $17. With one of them was even a plain white envelope shipping out the door, and a massive flip on those of 4X. So, hey man, I see the hype, and I get it, man. Their offensive scheme with Kevin O'Connell, that offense is high pace. We also know the defense. If I'm looking at their biggest weaknesses, it's their defense, man. They've got holes all over the place on their defense, but yet they've got a decent offensive line. They've got Kirk Cousins, and they've got Justin Jefferson, who was double covered at the highest rate last year. I think almost 20% double coverage rate for Justin Jefferson last year, and he was still able to succeed against that, like one of the highest rates in the league, if not the highest. So it's pretty insane, man. And I think Jordan Addison could definitely be a big factor. TJ Hawkinson too. If Travis Kelce misses any extended amount of time, could TJ Hawkinson be the new tight end one with his athletic ability, that offensive upside they've got? I mean, is it possible TJ Hawkinson sees a big appreciation in his card values, even if the Vikings aren't necessarily winning a lot of games, and just because he becomes a new tight end one? I see some dynasty guys, they're ranking TJ Hawkinson as tight end one.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to begin with this football cards. I've always just avoided tight ends altogether, but I want everyone's opinion here. I've drafted this guy a lot because the fantasy experts like him a lot. I personally don't, but I keep seeing everyone tell me Mark Andrews is a second coming. I love Lamar. I freaking love Lamar. I can't love him too much because he's in Joe Burrow's division, but I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Well, if Mark Andrews goes off, do I want some of his cards? I normally like to get a few cards of the players that I draft a lot of. But do y'all think Mark Andrews has a chance to be the TE1 now?
He does, but he's just not a sexy pick. It's not as sexy as TJ Hawkinson. That's what it is. And you look at Mark Andrews' rookie cards, a lot of them are like the Aaron Rodgers cards. They're a practice uniform.
Right.
You know, he didn't get a rated rookie logo. It's they did some goofy stuff in 2018 by taking off the rookie card logo when they put on autographs and stuff. So he's got that to contend with. And I do believe that with the Ravens, a lot of it comes back to Lamar, but then there's going to be a lot of focus this year on Zay Flowers as well. And Odell Beckham's always gets a spotlight. So I don't think that Mark Andrews, I think he's going to be fine, probably top 5 tight end easy. But as a tight end one, I would bet on TJ Hawkinson. His cards are way sexier too. When I look at 2019 rookie cards, there's a ton of eye appeal there, and he's in the full suite of those cards. Okay. It's also funny that he is best comparable to Travis Kelce according to playerprofiler.com. I'm just saying.
Interesting. I like it. I'm starting to regret the Mark Andrews pick now. I've drafted him in 2 different home leagues, relatively higher stakes. But hopefully it pays off, because I am not in love with them, but just how it was set up, I was like, well, if I get a good tight end here, I don't have to worry about the waiver wire every single week. So there we go. Now, we'll move along here to a few other quarterbacks, Andy. And one that I want to chat about is Daniel Jones, right? So this would be a very interesting thing. You know, we talked last week so much about the 2020 rookie class and how sexy those football cards were and how the sealed wax is. But what I love about Daniel Jones, we get a 2019 rookie. And look, Kyler Murray has been, a disappointment recently. We have no idea what's going to happen there. But can Danny Dimes save the 2019 rookie class? Because one of my favorite rookie ticket autos are his blue rookie ticket autos. They look so good to color match rookie ticket autos from that class. So your thoughts on Danny Dimes buying into that card market?
Well, when you look at the current prices and you compare them to Kyler Murray, you can see that there's upside there because you have a lot of data on Kyler Murray going back the past couple of years, and Daniel Jones for that matter. But Kyler Murray has been at these levels where he's a lot more hyped up and his market's way down right now. But I'll tell you, Daniel Jones, he's not doing too bad. Like I've got him right next to Tua in our hype ranking, so he's at the quarterback 17. And that is taking a lot of different factors into consideration, not just fantasy projections, and we'll see how that kind of balances out. But yeah, I mean, you could look at. I found a couple silver prism rookie ticket autos. I found one that was a red, numbered out of 199 for like 295. That was buy it now, and the silver prism rookie ticket auto was 200. And I've seen those cards get well over $1,000 for Kyler Murray. I mean, that used to be a floor of $1,000 for Kyler Murray. And now, Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones are at the same level. But $200 for that kind of card is not too much higher than a guy like DK Metcalf. So it's you can see a lot of upside in the current. Now, his prices have gone up. His prices have gone up about 20 to 30% throughout this preseason, just across the board. But when you look at the potential upside with the scarcity from 2019 and kind of that quality and the eye appeal that a lot of those 2019 sets have, you can definitely paint a picture to where Sunday Night Football, the Giants really impress a lot of people. And I do think Daniel Jones is going to bring along a guy with him, whoever that is. I know he's got that rushing upside as well. You got Saquon there as a primary running back. But I do think a receiver's coming along with Daniel Jones here in appreciation. Maybe it's Darren Waller. Maybe it's the rookie Jalen Hyatt. Maybe Paris Campbell does something out there, or one of those other guys. Yeah, you got a lot of upside in making that play there. But I would say, and it could go either way. The strength of the Dallas Cowboys is their pass rush. They've got a strong defense. And Dak Prescott, even though he led the league in interceptions last year, I think they're looking to bounce back from that this year. They're going to be aggressive as well. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen here, Andy. I want you to put this up and just look at these cards, man. They are gorgeous. I just love the way the autograph looks on these cards. It's just a very, not the prism. Where did I see? I was blowing it up just to.
I think it was the other way.
Yeah, I think it's up here. Let's see. No, it wasn't. Let me get out of here. But still, I just love the way that these cards look from 2019. There you go, right here. Man, just look at that, man. Just a nice, clean autograph and this blue optic on card, man. God, man, that is just, and I'm not even a Danny Dimes guy. I'm just like, guy, if they make any kind of run, we know Dable can coach. I mean, dude, just all these cards just look absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I mean, for me, just from a football card nerd standpoint, I would just love 2019 stuff to get hot again, right? But God, man, that blue color match, woo, that's absolutely gorgeous, man. So there you go. Andy, as always, when we get to this portion, we like to get to hobby tip of the week. And I'll let you go first. Go right ahead, man.
Sure. So one thing I would say, if you're shipping out a lot of cards, a conventional printer, it may not be what you want. All right. You may want to get a thermal printer. You can actually buy one of these things for about $150, and the ink on them lasts a long time, but it's the time that it saves you in slapping labels on envelopes and packages. So I would say if you're shipping out multiple packages a day, you're shipping out at least 10 to 15 packages a week. Every time that you have to cut out a label and stick it onto a package and use the packing tape, I mean, that's going to take you a few minutes. Well, I mean, you get yourself one of these little thermal label printers and you just peel that thing off, boom, slap it on, and you're good to go, man. So it's going to save you a ton of time if you're shipping out. Just bite the bullet and do it. It'll save you a ton of time.
Yeah, and this is a question you're going to ask yourself. Do I sell enough cards that the time that I spend taping and putting the label on there, could that prevent me from listing one extra card a day? That's a good way to go about it, because if you think that's yes, then a thermal printer is, less than a Daniel Jones autograph card, if you will. So it comes down to how many cards you sell. But if you're like Andy and you work in this and you're in it every week, it is without reasonable doubt the right move. If you're like me and you sell maybe 2 or 3 cards a week, just cut it out, tape it, because you also have your actual printer has more things you can do with it, if that makes sense. But I do like the idea of a thermal printer. My hobby tip of the week is very simple. Ask yourself how much you love any card, right? Do you think I enjoyed listing a Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson card this past week? No, I want to keep them all. I want to store them away, keep them all, give them to my grandkids or whatever. Well, I got to have kids before I have grandkids. I think that's how that works. But yeah, ask yourself if you really love it, if you really love that card, because if not, it's just going to sit there and that money could be used for something else. And I've just had cards sit and moving it. I'm like, okay, if I don't want to buy this with that money, let me just go get another card of a player that I really want. So always ask yourself, because one day you'll sit around and say, God, I just have so much crap sitting around, and then it's no longer the hot item, right? And I asked myself this question, Andy: will Justin Jefferson ever be a hotter commodity than he is right now? Coming off the Offensive Player of the Year, being in every single commercial, being I think he's going to be a legend. I think he will be, in that Jerry Rice conversation when his career is over. But right now, you mix in number 1 pick in fantasy leagues, you mix in he's still young and there's a lot of football left to be played. Ask yourself that question, how much you love Card X, because if you are selling some of that you collect, guess what? You're going to have more of those cards of that player. So it's not like you're just getting rid of something and it's just done. So ask yourself that question, and it'll help clean out some of your collection. Let's get to a few comments before we get into play of the week. James wants to talk Kirk Cousins cards from the quarterback Netflix documentary. Andy, have you got your hands onto any Kirk product?
Yeah, I've got a couple Kirk rookie cards. That's the first year Prism was made. So you got Kirk, Ryan Tannehill, Russell Wilson in that set. It's a beautiful card. It's kind of a hard grade just due to the age and some of the imperfections on it, but it's a good card. I like 2012 Prism. Also, 2012 Topps Chrome would be your highest selling on average Kirk Cousins rookie card. He is in like a combine jersey in that card. And but his rookie ticket autos, I would say, is kind of like a sweet spot for me from 2012. I was talking to a guy on Instagram last night. Shout out to Cody. He bought a Kirk Cousins rookie ticket auto BGS 9.5 for $195. And so if you look at that and compare it to the Daniel Jones, you can paint a picture where there's upside there. But I've been in on Kirk Cousins the past couple of years, and his numbers have been there. But it's prime time struggles Kirk, man. He can't get over that hump of winning those primetime situations when it comes down to the playoffs. And at his age, it's not just numbers he needs. He really needs that playoff ascension. He really needs to get a ring on that finger instead of the 2 chains to make those rookie cards go up notably in value.
Look at these two, Andy, right here. Kirk Cousins gold Prism numbered to 10. 5K and 6.5K. First year Prism gold number to 10 rookies. These cards are, dude, these cards are nasty. Got the color match as well. Anyone want to donate any money? I don't think I could ever talk myself into buying a multiple $1,000 Kirk Cousins card, but there is some value, Andy, in that first year Prism.
Yeah, and this is comparable to me if someone spent a early first round pick in dynasty fantasy startup or rookie draft on Kirk Cousins, and now they are refusing to let go of it for anything less than what they paid for it. And this card
Right.
is so rare. Like once you let go of a gold first year prism, it's gone. I mean, it's very
Yeah.
hard to come by. So, and it's going to be a card that you pull out at a show, and it's turns a bunch of heads, even if it is Kirk Cousins, because he still plays and he still puts up good numbers, and he's got the best wide receiver in the league. So it's like he's still very relevant. He's just had his prime time and playoff struggles. I think that he can overcome them. Will he though? I don't know, man. I don't think he does, because I think you have a big mix up this year in the NFC North. The NFC North is just up in the air for grabs. And the NFC as a whole has some great teams in it. I think they're getting better to kind of balance out with the dominant powers of the AFC. So I'm super excited to see what happens. But I got my exposure there, but it wasn't an early first round pick like that. It wasn't a gold prism, just some base prisms.
Annoy said 2012 Prism will be the new 90s PMG soon. I hope not, because I just moved some of my 2012 Gold Prism stuff, but I could see it. I could see it. Obviously, the precious metal gem set.
You made an insane profit on those gold 2012 prisms too, so it's hard to argue with that. And that's the other thing. Even if Kirk Cousins is done, he's like done tomorrow. That card is still going to be collectible because people are wanting to build that first year prism set, especially with the potential that there is not going to be any more licensed prism after. That's already been released for 2022. So
that is interesting. I appreciate your help as well, helping Andy grow this thing. I could see it, man. Like knowing what precious metal gems has done for basketball cards and football. I could see it prism for both basketball and football maybe in the future. The issue is the 2012 rookie class isn't really legendary. Obviously, you got Russell Wilson, you got Kirk Cousins, and who else is 2012 rookie class off the top of my head? Levante David.
Yeah.
Crap. Let's see. Now that I'm thinking.
Right, you mentioned Ryan Tannehill, right?
Ryan Tannehill. And yeah, but if God, I don't know why I shouldn't even have brought it up. I'm just drawing such a blank. 2012 rookies.
Marcus Colston. You mentioned Colston, right?
Yeah, Colston. Yeah. Andrew Luck is obviously.
Yeah, and there you go.
Luck in RG3. But we go to Chad here, and we could chat about this as well, Andy. Could we see a world where Prism becomes a Topps product?
Hey, wilder things have happened. So I definitely think we could see a world where that happens. Fanatics is going to have to pull out the big bucks, but I could definitely see a world where that happens.
Yeah, as a leaf collector, I'm interested to see what's going to happen now that the CEO is no longer there. That's the thing, these things can always get bought out. I heard someone mention earlier that Rated Rookie isn't a Panini thing, but a Donruss thing. So I'm interested in the future of Rated Rookie logos, Andy.
Yeah, 100%. So if it's a Donruss thing, maybe I misunderstood, but I always thought so either Panini owns Donruss or they own the licensing rights to Donruss to be able to produce that with the Panini logo through the Panini manufacturing process. So it's interesting because they got a lot of subsidiaries, a lot of those little child brands underneath their parent brand of Panini. A ton of different sets that we are familiar with going back to the 90s or to the early 2000s. So yeah, man, the way that all shakes out with the licensing is super, super interesting. It's going to impact a lot of stuff. But I don't think it necessarily time capsules, because I look at the quality of Topps and Bowman cards, and I think people are definitely going to be happy if those cards come in and they're fully licensed. I think what could be the worst possible outcome if we've got like a downgraded football card product altogether. If we're like, missing names over here, missing autos over here, we're missing team logos over here, but we got them over here. It's like, what is all this hodgepodge cards? Like, somebody needs to get both licenses so they can manufacture a proper football card.
Go off, King.
I just don't want to see like half-rated cards because these guys are fighting against each other. I guess if that's all we got to play with, then yeah. But from a collectible standpoint, I'd rather see higher quality, better cards that are fully licensed from all angles, and it's got, it's the real deal.
One thing I think when it comes to the future of football cards, Andy, I was just so shocked how many kids were at the National and how many kids were dealing these $100,000 cards, collections that are way better than mine. And by kids, I mean kids from mostly like 10 to like 16, right? What I think is going to be interesting is obviously all the kids know Michael Jordan and Michael Jordan's impact on cards, and Jordan is his own thing, right? And I think most kids kind of view Tom Brady the same way, but not quite in terms of the hobby. I do think one dynamic for the future should be, how do the younger generation feel about cards of players that are legends but aren't playing anymore, right? Like, how do kids view Drew Brees cards? How do kids view Tom Brady cards and Peyton Manning cards and so on and so on, compared to just buying Sam Howell, just buying Desmond Ritter, just buying whichever young quarterback you want to mention? What do you think about that future dynamic from your standpoint?
I think the younger kids, I think they like the older players. Like, I was on a fantasy football podcast with a 12-year-old young man, very sharp, has his own podcast himself about fantasy football, but he was on, the older players. He was like talking about how Michael Thomas is super undervalued, and he's like all over these veteran guys. And I'm like, oh man, like I moved off of the veteran guys like Odell Beckham and Michael Thomas. I'm on to, these younger guys, these first and second year players. And so I think almost the younger generation, and I think about myself going back to, when I got into football hot and heavy, like one of the things I remember is like just sitting down night after night and watching the highlight reels and the film of all the Hall of Famers, like all the GOATs. And so I naturally, like right off the bat, like wanted to look at who was the best of all time. And yeah, there's a couple current guys mixed in there, but I think you still have a lot of, GOATs of all time, like Barry Sanders and Walter Payton and stuff, that people can look at and say, man, they just don't make them like that anymore. And yeah, you have some speculative players that could potentially be that are close to that. But at the same time, I think what the card market should do, Carter, is make those retired Hall of Famer players as like short print only inserts within sets. They should keep them rare. They should keep them pretty rare, so you only hit one every once in a while, and it becomes a little bit of a chase for ultra modern stuff. I think they put a little bit too much. I think they should make it rare in all cases. Never have a print run over like 100 for a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and if you do like super rare ones, I think that could help out with like non-QB like legends. Like, I don't know how I'd feel as a kid if I pulled the gold number to 10 Troy Polamalu of like a modern card. But if I go to if that kid goes to his dad, the dad could say, oh, you don't know who you just pulled. That dude was a mother effing dog. And the one thing I don't like is we have mentioned too many USC Trojans on this. We don't want that to get to our USC fans. Brad, and I know we got a few others out on the West Coast. USC is going to get beat because they don't play defense. But still, I would love that. I love that idea. And my most radical idea is still out there, Andy. If you are a card company and you're listening to this right now, print the number of cards, serial number, every single card you produce. every single one of them. Just on the back, every print. This is this is card number 1 out of 10,000, 2 out of 10,000, 3 out of 10,000. Do it. Put in the extra work. It can't be that much more work to just stand. It's machines anyway. So,
so you want the stamped, the one that's actually like engraved in the card, or would you be okay with the print run that just said 1 out of 3,000? Every one of them said 1 out of 3,000. So
I would
they
take
tell
that.
you, yeah,
Yeah, I would take that.
like, okay, because that's what they do with Panini Instant now. I'm glad they do it. A lot of people look at that though, and they're like, it's not a true print run. That's not a true serial numbered card because there's a specific number. Sometimes that specific number has a bonus for different people, as a bookend, a jersey number match, is number 13, lucky number 7, that kind of stuff. So, but if they could just print it on there, Carter, I mean, that's an upgrade for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one other small little thing that I want to bring up here is I want to talk before we get into play of the week about going into stores and buying product. This has been the case to me over the past year, Andy. That product is sitting on shelves. I've walked into Walmart and I've seen a lot of select draft pick stuff. I'm interested in your thoughts on that, Andy. I know you're in Tampa at a different place than me, but have you seen wax on shelves at your markets?
Yeah, I even see individual packs now. Last time I went to Target, I actually saw a hobby box of Score that was open, and they were selling individual packs out of there. I was like, that's pretty cool. But that opens the door for someone, and that's why they put those little spacers, the fake out like mem cards in the packs now, so people can't weigh them. I was just getting ready to go down the road of someone bringing a little scale in their pocket to the store and weighing packs out to figure out which ones they want. I think it's great for kids and younger people, and adds more strategy to it now as well. So the kid is actually incentivized to do a little research on his phone, whether it's eBay, whether it's Cardboard Connection, Beckett, to kind of look at the different sets and get an understanding of which one's the better sets. And they go and buy, save up their money, because there's nothing worse than, as a kid, saving up your allowance money or your hard-earned like lawn mowing money, paper route money, to go to a store and there not be anything there for you to buy. And a lot of kids, that's the only access they have to that. A lot of their parents are maybe old school or just living under a rock, don't use technology. They can't go, they don't go onto eBay or Amazon to buy product and have it sent to them. So the kid's only avenue to get cards is going to a local shop. And if they got nothing there for them, that kind of stinks. That really stinks, actually. So it's nice to have something there. Just want to be careful it's not too much. Maybe keep one or two of these sets, have it a nice healthy print run for retail, but then try and dial back. Like they should have never taken select retail. They just shouldn't have done that. But that was a little overboard. But I do like seeing product in stores for the kids.
Yeah, and they put Aaron Rodgers on those select boxes at stores at first, and I was like, out of all quarterbacks, you put Aaron Rodgers on there. Now we get to play of the week, and if you want to get your question answered before the end of this live stream, go ahead, fly it on in here. If you send a super chat, it all goes to support Andy. We'll go to your question immediately. Andy, for me, play of the week. So here's what's interesting. Okay, Andy, who was my play of the week last week? Do you remember?
Oh man, this is now you're challenging me.
Okay, I'm going to give it to you. And it hit big, was Riley Leonard. I said last week, he's a college quarterback for Duke. And what did he do yesterday? He didn't have the best game, but he upset Dabo Swinney in front of millions playing for Duke. And I was like, go buy you some Riley Leonard stuff. I haven't been able to get any because I've been sniped a little bit and I've been busy during how some of these auctions have ended. But Riley Leonard, I'm telling you, as far as like college quarterbacks are concerned, there's no one else. You see in the thumbnail for just now joining us, we started the live stream off talking about Bowman U. But what I will say, and you see, I love me some Riley Leonard. I do. That Clemson defense is tough. I mean, he's not throwing to the best skill position guys. and he's got some dual threat ability, baby. God, his sales have already gone up. I've look at this. There were some one of ones of his going for 30, 35, and I was like, I'm not,
People are grabbing them. People are
dude,
grabbing them, brother.
grabbing them, man. I saw one end at $23. That was one I missed out on. 23 last week.
Now up to 60. Now up to 60.
Now up to 60. Riley freaking Leonard. I was trying to give you another college quarterback this week, and I haven't done a price analysis on this one yet, but Michael Penix is a guy. Derek has been on the Michael Penix train. He bought a very nice one of one that I purchased for him at the National, and I'm a huge Michael Penix guy. I don't know how good of an NFL quarterback he's going to be. He does have a wide delivery. It's a little bit of a wind up, and that's really difficult to succeed at the NFL level. But Michael Penix at Washington is very much on Heisman watch this year, and he could play left-handed QB. So just be on the lookout. And yeah, I wanted to shout out Derek because he got on Michael Penix pretty early, and it's been going up in Family Burnliner. Bo Nix was someone else I mentioned not too long ago. So Andy, your play of the week.
Left-handed mobile QB. Is there any Michael Vick comps there?
No, he's nowhere close to Vic in terms of a runner. He can run, but he's a better. He doesn't have the cannon Vic has, but overall he's a better thrower. So, yeah, Vic is
nice.
one of them. But yeah, Andy, your play of the week.
Yeah, man. So I'm looking at the market, and I mean, there's some players that still jump out to me, like Tony Pollard from 2019 draft class. On the other side, that Giants game, Sunday Night Football. I'm looking at these primetime matchups, like the Bills Jets Monday night. You got the Cowboys Giants Sunday night. A lot of divisional matchups. You got the game Thursday night with Travis Kelce out. Obviously, that gives a boost to Noah Gray. Noah Gray is very interesting, but very, very few. Honestly, I haven't even looked into the Noah Gray market yet, to be honest with you. But just knowing that today is Tuesday and the game's in 2 days, and Travis Kelce, I can't imagine a situation where he misses too much time. So the flip on Noah Gray would have to be like on comc.com or something where I can electronically buy it and sell it before I get it. Otherwise, I'm going to bet on more known commodities. I'm still actively trying to hunt some Amon-Ra St. Brown cards, that primetime game Thursday night. And then I also like Tony Pollard Sunday night. I've seen that his market has noticeably dipped throughout the preseason with the ascension of Deuce Vaughn. But if you look at their official depth chart, it's Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, and Deuce Vaughn. And Rico Dowdle is a guy that's been in their system that they trust. So I think that, and he's good in pass protection. So I still think that the role is going to be massive for Tony Pollard, and you're going to have Rico in some pass pro situation. And Tony Pollard may be on the field at the same time. They move him out to wide receiver position, because I think Tony Pollard's a better receiver than all the receivers on that team besides CeeDee Lamb, and maybe Brandon Cooks. But he's basically, I think he can function as their RB1 and their wide receiver 3. He's going to be out there a lot, and it could be massive in prime time as he reminds everybody why he last year dominated week in, week out, why last year he was a RB1.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rico Dowdle played in the SEC, and I hardly remember him. I had to look up to see he played at South Carolina. So I am cheering for Deuce Vaughn. I'm cheering for my fellow short king, Deuce Vaughn, trying to overcome the odds, Deuce Vaughn. And the fact that his dad is on the staff is really freaking cool. Because a lot of you are doing your final home league drafts, Andy, are there any fantasy football hot takes? How many home league drafts have you done?
I've done a bunch. Exact number has got to be somewhere around 7 or 8.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty much tapped out. I mean, it's gonna be this is gonna be the
Dang.
strain this year. So we just got to stay on top of it. It's Saturday night. You got to stay up late, a little bit. Make sure you're ready to go, and then make sure you're adjusting Sunday and hitting it again Tuesday night for the waiver wires. But yeah, so I mean, I think fantasy takeaways to me, I think a lot of people are still drafting DJ Moore as a wide receiver 3. I've been in drafts where he has fallen all the way to like, the 20th wide receiver off the board. I kid you not, man. And I just grab him up there every time. I've got a lot of him in the wide receiver 2 range. I don't mind even reaching on him a little bit between a full round to, one pick on his ADP just to get him on my team in that wide receiver 2 position. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 1. And I think people are undervaluing him. I'm really excited to see this Bears offense with a true number 1. It reminds me, Carter, a lot of AJ Brown going to the Eagles and what he was able to do with Jalen Hurts alongside. Of course, they had Devonta Smith, who is super dominant, but the Bears have Darnell Mooney healthy, and you've got Cole Kmet, which I think there's a little bit of injury concern with him, but it's nothing major. He may even be playing this weekend. But DJ Moore is the difference maker there. He's the X factor. He's going to be schemed in all over the place, and he's a beast. So I'm excited to see what he could do this year.
Yeah, so the puppy just opened. Shout out Underdog Fantasy. Another puppy open. Promo code Quest, promo code Carter if you want to sign up, get a deposit match bonus. Underdog Fantasy, underdogfantasy.com. Are we drafting puppies? I mean, it better fill quick. First place for $25K.
Yeah. We need to draft a puppy. We need to get one in, man. The season starts in 2.5 days.
Have you? Be honest. Have you done a Best Ball Mania?
I've done a bunch of them. Yeah, but Best Ball Mania 4s. I got
how many?
I probably got like a dozen bullets in the chain.
Wow, you got it like that.
Yeah. I mean, every Thursday night when Steve the Hitman and I get on here, we get a lot of pressure to do the BBM 4s, especially if Derek Richards in the chat and Late Stick, Bush Leaguers, those regulars on Thursday night. We've been doing BBM 4s almost every week, but there's definitely been some weeks where we've done either the Pomeranian or the puppy.
Yeah, that's
or
me. That's the lower stake stuff. That's my kind of. But do you think you're going to win the $3 million? That's what I want.
Oh man, I hope so. I got hope. I feel like I've had some pretty good drafts, so I think there's definitely a chance. We'll see if it all comes together, man. I can tell you who I've got the most exposure to.
Who's that?
I know I have a lot of David Montgomery exposure.
I do too.
I got a lot of DJ Moore.
Let's go, Monty.
If this is going to be the year of the 2018-2019 draft class.
Let's go.
And I love those plays in sports cards right now too. When everybody, I'm going to say everybody, but a lot of people, gotta be careful to make blanket statements like that. I'd say a lot of people, generally speaking, gravitate towards the brand new product that's being released, the rookies, maybe some of the second-year players. So I think there's a lot of third and fourth-year players and fifth-year players that are going under the radar that are still in their prime, that when the actual game time comes around, they actually explode on the field, and their cards have the scarcity on eBay to actually go up in price fairly significantly.
Monty. Oh, man. I know Hector loves that name, but Hector's a Jahmyr Gibbs guy. He's actually a Lions fan. What's up, Forbes? Good to see you. Forbes got a shout out at my film study this past weekend for LSU. But yeah, man, it is interesting. I'm bullish on College Union cards, and I'm bullish on Underdog Fantasy. Once again, promo code Quest or promo code Carter get you a nice little deposit match bonus. That's crazy.
There you go. 9 bullets. I got 9 bullets in BBM 3.
My God.
Or BBM 4, excuse me. BBM 4.
I think I have exactly 41 in my account too right now. That's crazy. Okay, so Monty, Isaiah Hodgins.
A lot of exposure to Hodgins. Well, he
Oh,
is part of the starting lineup there for the Giants. I do expect him to play pretty aggressive. So I think he's maybe have a couple weeks contributing to my roster.
I might have drafted Najee one time, and there was a while when Najee's football cards were high, like right when his rookie product came out, because he's Alabama running back, Steelers running back, first round draft capital. Look at this. Oh, you got a lot of Sun God too. I'm on.
Yeah, I tried to get a healthy amount of him. I got a lot of DPJ. I don't see any reason to doubt DPJ. I think when push comes to shove, when Deshaun Watson wants to throw it deep, I think DPJ is going to be targeted quite a bit. So I'm excited about DPJ with Deshaun Watson. A lot of people are down on Deshaun Watson the past few weeks. You can see his market's been down as well in the cards. I just think that I mean, it's a great matchup against this weekend against the Bengals, and we'll see what he's made of. The Bengals defense did take a couple hits. They lost two of their primetime safeties, like their big time safeties, Jesse Bates and Von. What was his name? Von Bell, I think.
Von Bell.
Yeah, Von Bell. So. And Bates went to the Falcons, which is one of the reasons why we think the Falcons defense is going to be better, plus their line stuff. But this will be an interesting test against the Bengals this weekend. We'll see if we get Joe Burrow day to day, Carter. So I'm optimistic that he plays. Joey B day to day. So hopefully he plays, because without him, I'm maybe the Nick Chubb show.
Chubby. All right, Andy. This was an absolute joy. Every Tuesday, 1:30 Central, for the foreseeable future, until Andy and I get jobs that pay us $5 million a year and we're too busy. Kelsey, a little knee situation, but he is out for Thursday. More than likely out for Thursday. Am I right about that? Yeah, I think I'm pretty right.
Yeah, I think they're saying day to day, but it's likely out. I mean, hyperextended his knee, so he was being evaluated after the practice, but it doesn't sound like he's gonna. I mean, this is a really short turnaround Thursday night, so I mean, it's possible though. It's possible this is just some drama. The conspiracy theorists would say, "Oh, it's book controlling from Vegas or something," and then
yeah.
But
you want to know what's interesting about him, Andy, is I am Kelsey's age, and I used to run a lot. Like I could knock 10 miles out, no problems asked. I was a soccer player, all that stuff, but I'm chubby. Like it was weird. Like I'm built like a thumb. Okay. And I used to be able to just run super long distances. And then when I turned 33, I could barely go a mile. Okay. Like, and that's when it hit me that the age cliff is like just such a real thing. Like I couldn't imagine being 34 and playing NFL tight end. Like it's not just, you're not a holder, you're not a kicker, you're a freaking tight end. You're the best tight end at 34. Is his body breaking down? I don't know, because he's been by far the best tight end in the sport for so freaking long now. By far the best. So it's crazy, man.
He's trying to give him a run as the veteran tight end. Well, you got Darren Waller, who's over 30 now, but also Jimmy Graham. And Jimmy, wasn't Jimmy from the 2012 class? Is Jimmy a 2012 rookie?
I just remember he was a third rounder out of Miami. I gotta know now. I remember when he was drafted, Saints fans were so mad.
But at our age, you're right, Carter. It's about time we start transitioning from running on the road, the pavement, or even in the grass to a bicycle. Save the knees. It's a closer form to sitting in a chair all day long. Just get some of those bike pedals under the desk. Call that your exercise. You're good to go, man.
I love it. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Don't forget, Andy has all kinds of content outside of this. And peace out.
Peace out, y'all. Ba-da-ba-bow.